that after Putin leaves, whatever is the way that he's leaving, someone comes that is even worse. Because Russia is full of this high-ranked officials and KGB officers and you name them.
I agree that someone could be, we might get someone much worse, but I'm also very optimistic that this war is Putin's war. And the failure of the Russian military to take a country 1/3 of its size just looks so bad. The Ukrainian resistance looks so incredible. And this is, from the Russian perspective, a debacle, a catastrophe, a quagmire. Putin can't admit that, which causes problems ending the war. But anyone else who comes in can say, look, this was my predecessor's mistake, and now I want to end it, and I'm willing to offer the Ukrainians terms of basically unconditional Russian surrender.
I'm sorry for interrupting. Do you believe Prigozhin will do it? Do you think the Prigozhin will say, well, Putin has done a lot of mistakes, I really need to make it up to Ukraine for some reason? Or I think he's a monster. He will do even worse damage in Ukraine he fled to.
But it's not making it up to Ukraine. It's what is in the best interest of the new leader. Have the Russians gained anything in Ukraine? The Russians have overrun a few cities, a lot of farmers' fields in eastern Ukraine that is of very little value to the Russian state. They're taking tremendous casualties. If I were the new Russian leader, I would order all my tanks to drive east and over the Russian border and just end this and stop the bleeding.
Well, this is why you're not Russian leader, because they just don't care.
Perhaps. Yeah, no, you're making an excellent devil's advocate argument, but I don't see why any leader would want to keep up this costly war. Putin has a problem admitting he made a mistake, and that will make him look weak if he turns around. Any other leader can say, we're declaring victory and going home. They'll say to Zelensky, make some sort of conciliatory statement to us, say some pretty words, and we go home. And that'll be the end of it. They'll get some sort of statement, and they'll just turn those tanks east, is what I desperately hope.
But in terms of Prigozhin, PMC Wagner and others, they will be struggling for power in Russia to get closer to the throne, or maybe usurp another Putin's, if you like. So,
yeah, I think that there will be fights, and my Ukrainian, my grandmother was Ukrainian, and I regret to say I cannot speak Ukrainian very well, nor can I speak Russian very well. I think the term is what's the term for the security services in Russia? It starts with an S. I'm thinking of the KGB, the generals, the people who are immediately below Putin. They will, amongst themselves, fight it out. Those people will try to get into power. I just don't think it's going to break out into what we would deem a full-scale civil war. I think it would be more done with negotiations and occasionally possibly assassinations. I think it would be closer to how Khrushchev came to power than how Lenin came to power.
Yeah. And maybe there is a possibility that these guys will just put Putin on a plane and send him right to The Hague, right?
Maybe, but frankly, you don't want Putin to be alive if you want to run Russia. They'll shoot him in the head. They'll just shoot him in the head. Maybe they'll send his body to The Hague, but they don't want any possibility of Putin being around to do anything.